friends, welcome back. We have a lot of stuff to talk about with the future of Dying Light 2. But before we begin, we got a new headset, we got a new hairline, we got what's up, dog? The end of an era is among us. Soon we can say goodbye to this background and maybe get a completely new set. But before we do begin, we have a new hand. Look at that, it's so pristine. Good, we can clap again, Danny. Danny, we can clap. Alright, we have some more Dying Light 2 to talk about. There was an interview with the good old Chadman himself, Timon Smectala. He sat down to talk about the past, the present, and also the future of Dying Light 2. Here's the thing, this article, it's long. A lot of the stuff in here is stuff that we've heard before. Work from home, why is the game delayed? We know that stuff. We care about the future of Dying Light 2 and what the game's gonna look like in 1, 2, 5 years from now. And like we have seen, we know that there's a Dying Light 2 post-launch map currently out there. But in this interview, Timon did go on to say that the first 2 years are actually quite detailed. The first year is basically all planned out to this point. The second year too, but there's still some more space. The 5th year, however, Dying Light 2 in 2027, goddamn, that's so far away. I'll probably be pregnant by then. They have a slight idea on where they want to bring the game, but it's still very broad. Because of what from we know and also from what Techland said in here, part of their methodology on how they determine what content to give is based on the community and the players. Techland is listening very, very closely to player feedback. He did go on to say that plans for the first year and maybe the second year as well will experiment with a lot of different themes. So when Techland goes and gives us new content, new DLCs, some of it might be more linear, maybe narrative content, maybe gameplay driven. Some stuff may be cosmetic or events that are meant to go and challenge the player. Timon did say that they want to go mix a bunch of things together and put it on a time frame. They did that on purpose because we want to listen to what players have to say. What works for them, what doesn't work for them, what kind of content do they prefer. Timon, if you're watching, you know what we need as soon as possible? A battle royale game mode. I'm just kidding. Please don't do that. If you do, I'm gonna bash my head against that wall right there. He did say that a lot of the requests going on right now are New Game Plus, higher difficulty modes, a photo mode, as they have very direct contact with the community, so they know exactly what the players want. He did bring up the example that a lot of players were requesting more brutality, more gore in the game, and they actually did update that in a patch recently. They made some changes to the blood, the ragdolls, little subtle updates that you may not notice at first. After this, they did go ahead and dive a little bit into the first story DLC that is slated to release in June 2022. That's actually 2 months from now, so fingers crossed it's still on track to release. I know a lot of people are still having issues with playing this game, so hopefully that's all resolved by then. Remember, April is supposed to have a giant, massive patch for everybody, so hopefully that does resolve a lot of the ongoing issues with the game right now. He did say that more choices and consequences will be returning in the DLC. The DLC is a much smaller scope than the base game. The first DLC is basically its own self-contained story, and that it's more like a standalone story that you'll be able to start no matter where you are in the main story. He did say you can go, play it, enjoy it for what it is, without thinking about your choices and how it's going to affect your main game, which is good. I kind of like that. Normally, I'm all for the choice and consequence system, but seeing it in action for Dying Light 2, it got very convoluted and the payoff was not there. I think if they stuck to a more linear storyline, it may be more beneficial for them. And like he did say, the first year, the second year is going to be a lot of experimental content. So odds are we may be seeing some linear content coming to us in the next year or so. But I will say that it's good to know that I can do the story DLC, probably murder an entire fleet of peacekeepers and have absolutely no consequences about it. It may be a lot of adjusting, but we'll have to wait and see for that. They did say that they wanted to put in small hooks that will reference to the events of the main game, but he thinks it's going to be very, very small. They have a game that's so massive and it really all depends on the execution of how they... What do you think? Do you like the choice and consequence system, or do you maybe want a more linear path like the original Dying? Just some food for thought for you before we do go and dive into this last question, which I think is a big one. So the interviewer did ask on Dying Light 2's expansions and whether or not we can expect a vehicle-focused update like the original games of the following expansion. And Timon Chadman said, "My lips are sealed, but there are a lot of people who also love the following. So who knows?" It's a little cheeky answer. It's not outright denying it, which is good. It gives us hope for one. I mean, I did make a video a little while ago saying that Dying Light 2 may be planning a following type DLC. In that interview, Techland said they had really crazy ideas for a type of DLC like this. Following was a massive risk. It was never something that they did before, so they were really taking a chance when they went and did this. And I think it did ultimately pay off. It added a lot to the base game of the original. They should go ahead and implement some of those things into Dying Light 2. And in the world of Villador and Central Loop, a buggy may not work, so maybe things like a dirt bike, that could have worked pretty well. And now going and moving beyond Dying Light 2, they also did ask if the franchise had any future in other areas of entertainment, whether it was movies, comics, or TV shows, kind of similar to how The Witcher is functioning right now. And Timon did answer that while he's not the best one to answer the question, the original Dying Light did lay down an amazing foundation for future experiences and also endeavors. Now, we do have to remember, they made the Banshee comic, the Night Hunter comic, and at one point there was actually a Dying Light movie planned. I think it was just like a little sprinkle of an idea in Techland's mind and never actually made its way to production, but there was something out there for it. Those are just some examples of what we've already gotten so far. And Timon didn't want to spoil anything and give it up, but from the looks of it and how he ended the question, it seems like it may occur later down the road. The future of Dying Light will expand in other areas, but for now, it's very unclear how. Before I do wrap up this video, the interviewer did ask one more question about the lack of underwater levels and discovery. It seemed like this was missing to them, and Timon did respond that it wasn't something that they focused on, but understand that it is lacking in that area, and it may be explored more in the future. Which honestly, that's great news. Maybe the drowners will be something that's not an exploding zombie, you know, not that. I do like the whole underground sunken city. That was great. More of that would be awesome. But friends, that is everything that Techland and Dying Light 2 have planned right now. And I think one of the biggest things that we did discuss was the potential return of vehicles coming. Timon had a very cheeky response, you know, by saying a lot of people like the following, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, nudge. But that is everything that I have to say today. If you want to go ahead and see more content from me, click on one of these videos here, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.